Malawi cichlids are among the most colorful cichlids. This is probably the main reason why these cichlids are so popular among aquarists. However, beginners in particular often do not realize that they are mostly aggressive cichlids. The most popular mbunas belong mainly to the more aggressive Malawi cichlids. This is why it is all the more important to choose the right species for our Malawi aquarium and set it up properly so that we can enjoy these beautiful cichlids for a long time. In the next article, we will try to present what to pay attention to when setting up a Malawi aquarium. At the end of this article, we will also give some examples of properly set up and populated Malawi aquariums, which illustrate the individual areas of this beautiful lake. The size of the aquarium is of course primarily important when choosing the species that can be introduced to our Malawi aquarium. It should be emphasized here that the volume itself is not as important as the surface area of the aquarium, i.e. the length and width of the aquarium, because the height of the aquarium is not so important for these perches. Size requirements, of course, vary from species to species. More on this below. But you could simply say that the bigger, the better. In other words, the bigger the aquarium, the greater the choice of suitable fish for your aquarium. Understandably, not everyone has the opportunity to set up an aquarium of 2 or more meters in length in their apartment. But it is still necessary to meet at least some of the minimum needs of Malawi perch if we want our Malawi aquarium to function well for a long time. As for the size requirements, they differ only in the case of perch from the mbuna, Haplochromis, and paw, Olonocar groups. Mbuna and Olonocar, which grow quite large on average, from 10 to 15 centimeters, have similar requirements for the size of the aquarium itself, while most Haplochromis grow much larger and therefore also need a larger aquarium than the other 2 groups of Malawi perch. Of these 3 groups, mbuna perch are much more aggressive than Haplochromis and Olonocar and constantly chase each other around the aquarium, so they need plenty of space to swim and also hidden corners so that weaker fish have somewhere to retreat. Even during spawning, males can become extremely aggressive. For this reason, the minimum recommended size of a Malawi mbuna aquarium is around 200 liters, while the length and width of the aquarium is even more important than the volume itself. The height is not as important as the floor area. The length should be at least 120 centimeters and the width at least 40 centimeters. With this size of aquarium, we are otherwise limited in our choice of less aggressive and smaller mbuna species. The larger the aquarium, the greater the choice, and we can also breed more aggressive and larger species in it. Thanks to this, you can, for example, already populate the vast majority of species from the Malawi mbuna group in a 500-liter mbuna aquarium. Olonocar are perches that are much calmer than mbuns. They are similar in size to mbuns, but despite being calmer, they need a similar size aquarium to mbuns. This is because we need to provide the largest possible sandy areas for Olonocar. Therefore, the minimum aquarium for Olonocar should also be 200 liters and 120 centimeters long. A 300-liter aquarium is recommended. Haplochromis, on the other hand, are perches that differ in size from the above 2 groups. There are quite a few species that grow much larger than mbuna and Olonocar, from 20 to 40 or even a few centimeters. They are very similar to Olonocarum in terms of aggression and arrangement requirements, but due to their size, they need an aquarium with a capacity of at least 300 liters and a length of 130 centimeters. However, we are very limited in the choice of Haplochromis for aquariums of this size, because many of them require an aquarium with a capacity of 800 liters or more. Today I wanted to share a few facts about Lake Malawi with you. Lake Malawi is located at an altitude of 474 meters above sea level among high mountains. One interesting fact about this lake, which will be significant for the reproduction of its fish, is that the water level fluctuates greatly. Lake Malawi is situated in East Africa within the system known as the Great Rift Valley, which is a tectonic rift. In a very short period, the water surface can be several meters lower or higher. This phenomenon is related to certain factors, which I will explain shortly. Now let's move on to the distinctive features of this lake. The shallows are teeming with astonishing diversity. In this one body of water, hundreds of different species have evolved from a single ancestor. It is one of the best examples of evolution in the world, all having occurred in a surprisingly short time. But why is that? The crystal clear waters of the lake are alive with fish that gather above and below granite blocks. What impresses most is not their sheer number, but their diversity in shapes, sizes, and colors. Almost all these fish descend from a single ancestor. River cichlids migrated from Lake Tanganyika to Malawi via rivers that once connected the two Great Lakes, but which no longer exist. This led to a rapid development of new species. Currently, there are at least 700 different species of cichlids in Malawi, with several hundred of them being endemic. Scientists believe that the lake's unique bottom structure was the primary cause of this immense diversity. Huge granite boulders stretched between rock formations. Separated groups developed characteristics linked to their habitats. The lake's environment has not remained the same. Its dramatic fluctuations led to the isolation of various groups of the same species, allowing them to interbreed. These populations developed distinct characteristics, even when the water surface was low. Cichlids have access to various food sources. Some sift plankton directly from the water, while others clean larger fish of parasites, or even hunt among the species residing in the shallows. Some filter sand through their gills, while others thrive here with ease. The main food source is a carpet of algae covering the rocks. The algae thrive under the constantly shining tropical sun, and fish waste increases the availability of nutrients for the plants they feed on. This carpet of algae is more than just algae. It is composed of tiny crustaceans and other single-celled organisms, along with countless bacteria. Cichlids have avoided competition for food by developing different mouth structures, with each species drawing from this rich food source in various ways. The specialization in feeding types present in the lake is extensive. As I mentioned, there are herbivores, and some species have varied preferences, eating both plant and animal matter. For example, there are fish that feed on the scales of other fish. There's also the pseudotrophius crabro, which feeds on the eggs laid by large catfish. Interestingly, while it circles around these catfish, which are guarding their eggs, pseudotrophius crabro will consume the catfish's eggs. Dimidiochromis compressiceps is a fish with a very flattened body that feeds on the eyes of other fish, and Nimbochromis livingstonii, when hungry, lies on its side on the sand, pretending to be dead, and waits for a small fish to come close. As you can see, the cichlids of Lake Malawi exhibit a wide range of fascinating behaviors. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye. Now, I will describe my stock in detail. Currently, I have 9 species from the mbuna group, totaling about 43 adult fish, which is not too many. 3 Metraclima maison reef. It is recommended to keep 2 to 3 females for each male. They can also be kept in groups, e.g. 3 males and 7 females. This species is among the more aggressive mbuna, so it is advisable to keep them with other more robust mbuna that eat algae. They are omnivorous mbuna, primarily feeding on algae scraped from rocks, plankton, and various invertebrates. They are aggressive towards their own species, as well as others. 5 Metrioclima encunda. It is recommended to keep 2 to 3 females for each male. They can also be kept in groups. This species is also among the more aggressive mbuna and is omnivorous. 7 Metrioclima kalainos lupingu. They need many caves to hide in and should be kept with 3 to 4 females for each male. Generally, they are not very aggressive, but sometimes they can show aggression towards their own kind. To reduce aggression, it is advisable to keep them with other mbuna that feed on algae. They are mbuna that feed on algae scraped from rocks. 12 Chindongo demasoni. They live at depths of 0 to 4 meters. In the lake, demasoni are dispersed throughout the habitat, with each individual having about 2 square meters of space to forage. They are usually ignored by other species, but can be chased away by other territorial males. Interestingly, in the lake, no aggression has been detected within the species, and they behave relatively calmly, both within their species and towards other species. In an aquarium, however, it's a different story as they behave very aggressively. especially towards their own kind. Normal adult size. Males can reach up to 8 centimeters in the lake, while females are slightly smaller, up to 6.5 centimeters. Males can grow up to 10 centimeters in an aquarium. A noteworthy fact is that the natural habitat of Demisoni is highly endangered, which is why this species is on the IUCN list. 5 Pseudotropheus interruptus, normal size for adults, 10 centimeters/8 centimeters. They feed by scraping algae from rocks. They can be aggressive towards their own species, but are generally tolerant of other species. 3 Chindongo elongatus umfanga, normal size for adults, 9 centimeters/7 centimeters. Recommended tank size, 250 liters. Aquarium setup. Provide a sufficient number of rocks with hiding places. It is recommended to keep 3 to 4 females for each male. They are algae eaters, primarily feeding on algae. Within their species, they are very aggressive, but towards other species, they are only aggressive when defending their territory. 3 Metrioclima zebra kawanga. They require plenty of rocks to hide in, and the bottom should be covered with fine sand. It is recommended to keep 3 to 4 females for each male. 3 Labidochromis red sunflower. This is a variety of Labidochromis sp. They have been selectively bred to achieve a more intense orange-red coloration on the forehead and dorsal fin, but with a light pink body without the stripes usually present in the genus. They are herbivorous mbuna that strongly defend rocky territories. 2 Labidochromis. Pearl mud. It is essential to provide enough rocks with hiding places. It is recommended to keep 3 females for each male. However, they can also be kept in larger groups, e.g. 3 males and 7 females. They are among the calmer mbuna, so they can be easily housed with other calmer mbuna and also with other peaceful species, Aulonkara. They mainly feed on insects, but also on food for herbivorous fish, and they live at depths of 25 to 35 meters, where algae do not thrive. They are peaceful both within their species and towards other species.